please allow yourself to recognize that you're not the physical body. Please allow yourself to recognize that there is no self within this body. Please allow yourself to recognize that the personality is a self-concept that doesn't exist. That's true before the body dies. So when the body dies, that's the end of the body and it's the end of the personality. If before that happens, you allow yourself to experience your true nature, the natural state, which is the experience of conscious awareness itself, then you've died. And what are you? Nothing. Everything. So after the body dies, what are you? Nothing. Everything. So you say she was here and then she's not here? I say she was never here. What was here was a very temporary form, a very temporary body, a very temporary personality. And we're all in the same boat with that, right? We've all come into this world and we've all been enculturated and indoctrinated and conditioned to believe that the body is is what we are, the personality is what we are. The whole world's playing that game, right? So it's very easy to stay involved in that conditioning because everybody else is, and so it's very easy to interact with the world from that point of view, even though it's not true. This explains this explains the situation that exists in the world. Because once you take yourself to be a separate self, everybody else has the potential to threaten you, do they not? Once you take yourself to be a separate self, the world itself is a threat. Because anything can happen anytime. And when we look at the news, what do we see? You know, things happening to people that we don't want to happen to us. It's interesting, you know, in a way, because it really makes it clear that we're in this condition. When you look at the news, it really makes it clear that we're in this condition, because when you look at the news, on some level, what's happening to the people you see in the news is happening to you, because you and the people in the news are related. You're the same. You're human beings in this temporary life, trying to get by, trying to be happy. You know, you believe in the illusion, you know, we all believe in the illusion that the gross form that you see, called your body, is real. A quantum physicist would argue that there is nothing sitting in that chair. If we look close enough through the strongest, whatever you would call it, a particle microscope or whatever, there's nothing sitting in that chair. There's just energy moving around.
But it seems to get by in this world, you have to look at yourself first as the body and the person.
Mm-hmm.
And then in the background is this other idea of consciousness.
Well, you have to look at yourself first. Yeah, you have to look at yourself first as the physical body and the personality. That gets you into the game.
Right.
That gets you into the game of time and space, and I'm not you, and you're not me, and now we can have a relationship, right? But the reality of it is, you start out taking on the idea that you're the body and the personality, right? But that's not the beginning. The beginning is when the body's born, you don't yet exist. When the body's born, you don't yet exist. When the body's born, that baby has no name. That baby is not a human being. That baby is an energetic field, right, that's functioning with no name. It's in a natural state. It doesn't suffer. The baby doesn't need it. See, a baby doesn't need anything. We project onto the baby, right? But the baby's not suffering, and the baby doesn't need anything or want anything. It's just being an organism, mind-body organism. It's just being a mind-body organism. It's not reflecting on itself. It's not thinking about tomorrow. You got one. And if you look at if you look at it, you can see this. It's not worried about anything. It's not reflecting on anything. It's not thinking about yesterday and tomorrow. It's just being a mind-body organism. When it's hungry, the mind-body organism cries. When it's got a dirty diaper, the mind-body organism cries. When that's not the case, the mind-body organism sleeps and smiles, and the rest of the time it's just in pure wonder. Pure wonder. Then there's the birth. The birth is when the baby gets the name and the baby takes itself to be separate. That's the beginning of the life of the human being. Now, when that baby takes the birth as a personality in the body, it's still the baby. It's still the natural state is still there, right? But now the natural state something's been put in front of that, right? A concept called self has been put in front of it, the self-concept, self-image. So now the mind-body organism is being a human being. Okay? Both things are still there, right? Both things are still there. And then the mind-body organism that now takes itself to be a human being starts living the life of a separate self in the world in relationship to other people. Okay? And it starts experiencing the condition of being a human being, which means I'm not happy. That's the condition of being a human being. That's why the pursuit of happiness is the energetic movement of all humanity, isn't it? The energetic movement of all humanity is the pursuit of happiness, pursuit of satisfaction, the pursuit of peace. The pursuit of peace means to escape the restlessness of the life of a human being. Do you get that? The pursuit of peace is to escape the restlessness of the life of the human being. As it said, I think in the Bible, the man has no place to rest his head, right? Because your life is a constantly changing, ongoing, dissatisfied experience. Constantly looking to see, what's missing here? Tell me what's missing here. That's called commercials. Tell me what's missing here so I can get it. And if I get it, then I'll be happy. Everybody knows that. This is common knowledge, isn't it? Everybody knows that. That's why when the lottery number gets high enough, everybody puts their money into that machine. The interesting thing about the whole process is it doesn't work, and the obviousness of its unworkability is readily available for anybody to see. It's readily available for anybody to see. All you got to do is look around at other people that have given their life and given their energy to making the money, to getting the cars, to getting the houses, to getting the security, to getting the retirement funds and all that jazz. And they're still suffering. They're still suffering. They're still worried. They're still worried about what did happen and what will happen, right? And no matter what they do, see, they're stuck in the condition in which they can't stop trying to do what they think works to be happy. They're stuck in the condition where they can't stop trying to do what they think will work to be happy. And as you get older, you can look back and you can look at your patterns of attempting to do that, in whatever your patterns were. The patterns are generally the same. You're attempting to do that by establishing yourself as a position. In other words, you're not just any human being, right? You're somewhere on the hierarchy. You're trying to get up there, right? You're not just any human being. You're somebody that has a position in life. You're somebody that has had successes in life. You're somebody that has a reputation. You're somebody that other people admire. You're somebody that's a distinctive human being, not just anybody, right? Yeah, so you've done your job, you've done your work, and you're doing it all day long. You can't stop doing it. Your brain's been hypnotized to do this. You get up in the morning, it's just like somebody wound you up. You get up in the morning and it starts to play. And we're so used to watching it play, and we're so identified with it playing, that we can't see it. You get up in the morning, what's the first thing? Whether you notice it or not, when you get up in the morning, what's the first thing, the mechanism called the mind-body, what's the first thing the mind does?
Awareness.
Yeah, what about awareness? It's not aware, it's not, when you wake up in the morning, for most human beings, they don't wake up experiencing awareness.
You're thinking about what you have to do that day.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. You wake up in the morning and the program starts to play, and the program is about, what are you going to do today to make some money? What are you going to do today to get ahead? What are you going to do today to feel better than you did yesterday or last night? What are you going to do today to forward the action of your life? And what are you going to do today to continue this pursuit of happiness that hasn't worked? And so the possibility exists for the third phase of life to occur. That's the phase of life that most people don't know about. Carl Jung talked about this, the psychologist. Talked about this. For most people, the third stage doesn't happen. The third stage means that the concept of the self is seen for what it is. This is called awakening. This is called enlightenment, right? That the awareness that has been put into the background when the personality got instigated, when the identity took place, that awareness is now realized, is now recognized. Because what happens is the operation of the identity has not worked well. It continues to produce restlessness. It continues to produce anxiety. It continues to produce dread. It continues to produce all the things that people suffer from that they need medication for. So at some point, especially as you get older, you start looking elsewhere, right? Because you realize, I ain't got a lot of time left and this hasn't worked so far. Maybe I missed something, right? And then you might come across the teachings and the practices. And if you come across the teachings and the practices, what do they tell you? You've made a major mistake. You've taken yourself to be something that you're not. You couldn't have not done that, but nonetheless, that's what's happened. Now, what's possible through these teachings and practices, right, is to take a look, to actually look, take a look, self-inquiry, to take a look and see, right? Who are you? What is this that's happening? And if you take that look, what happens is that awareness that was put in the background behind the identity, right, flips forward. Flips forward. And you start to realize, oh, this is the reality. This is the capital T truth. This is what I am. I am this awareness that has no limitations, that has no form. I am this. And when I have that experience, when I have that recognition, right, it's like a glimpse, right? That happens for some people just for a few moments. Other people, it happens for a day. Some people, if you're really lucky, it happens for a week, right? But it never lasts, right? Why? Because the personality, the identity that now is behind this is still a program that's playing. And when it plays, it will pull your attention back to it. And when it pulls your attention back to it, it flips back again. Okay? And when it flips back again, people say, oh, I had it, but I lost it. No, you can't lose it. Not only can you not lose it, but you can't ever not be it. You can't ever not be it. You have never, ever been anything but the awareness. If you experience this, right, and if you understand the teachings and the practices and you participate in the practices, you're not trying to stay as the awareness all the time. What you're doing is practicing being aware that the awareness is what you are all the time, even when you're identified with the body and the thought process. So that you can be angry and be happy. You can be fearful and be happy. Why? Because the anger and the fearfulness is coming from the limited form of yourself called the personality. But you've now realized your true nature, which is never angry and never fearful. So when the anger and the fear comes up, you now can see it for what it is and not identify with it and not follow it. And because that's the case, it begins to lose its hold on you, which means you begin to be less restless, more calm, more peaceful, more happy naturally, right? And you stop behaving consistent with that material that's coming up in the mind, which means that you're easier to live with, which means that you stop resisting life, which means that you stop struggling with what's happening all the time, thinking it should be different. And gradually everything gets softer. Everything gets lighter, everything gets softer. Now you can live in the balanced state in which the body and the personality are still there. They have to be because you're in the world as a, that's still there. But it's being balanced out by the real you, the awareness, which is unaffected by what's happening, right? So it can keep the personality in line. It can keep the personality in line behaviorally, and it can keep reducing and lessening the effect of the personality on your experience, which means over time you gradually become more relaxed, more naturally happy, more naturally satisfied, more naturally peaceful. And as that happens, you stop the pursuit. As that happens, you stop worrying so much about money. When that happens, you stop the pursuit. You stop believing that you have to do things and change things in order to make life a happy experience that you want to have. So you don't have to go on vacation anymore. You are the vacation. I really enjoy, especially as I get older, right? I mean, the world is an interesting place, right? I really enjoy looking at some of these video people that have YouTube channels that explore places in the world. I don't have to go there. I don't have to pay for it. I don't have to suffer all the traveling shit. And I can just watch the person travel and tell me all about everything and show it to me.
You sound like my husband.
Maybe I am your husband. So, any other questions? Look, the personality is not going to accept what I just got done saying.
No.
Do you understand?
Sure.
It's just like Paul Hederman said, once the personality catches on that the solution to its suffering is its absence, it wants to slow this down. You know what I'm saying? Once the ego realizes its death is the solution, oh yeah, well, I'll get back to you. Can you understand that, right? It's kind of similar to my saying to you, oh look, I have the absolute solution to the happiness that you want, the peace of mind that you want, and the satisfaction that you want. I have the absolute solution to the whole thing. Would you trust me enough to apply the solution? If you say, yeah, and I pulled a gun out and went over and put it next to your head and said, this is the solution, are you ready to go? I think you'd say, oh, well, no. I didn't realize what you were talking about. But it's the same thing, really. According to the identity or the ego, it's the same thing. It's the same thing. It's being told you have to die in order to succeed at what you're attempting to do. You have to die in order for that to happen. It's a conundrum, isn't it? For the personality and the ego, it's an unsolvable conundrum that you have to die. Until you realize that all this death is a recognition of something that was never in existence in the first place. That's all this death is. It's not the same as taking a gun and shooting the body, right? All this death all this death does, it takes that amount of time. All you got to see one time, right, is that what you thought existed doesn't exist. All you got to see one time is you don't have to get out of something you're not really in. All you got to do is see that. That's the death. After that. And then, of course, you have to continue to remember that for a while, right? And until your second nature becomes your first nature. like that.